Hi Marie, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks for asking. How have things been going?
Okay. I've been having some trouble with some friends and stuff, and I don't know, I think just people just don't get me. I just don't think people get me. And
They don't understand you? Your friends don't understand you?
no, they just don't. And right now, I just, I just don't want to be friends with anybody right now because they just don't understand me, and I don't know. I think I'm just not going to have friends for a while.
That seems like a fairly large shift from kind of your position before on having friends. You seem to really like spending time with them. Did something happen that led to this?
Well, I just said some things, and now it's just gotten out of hand, and I just think I need to break from this friendship group for a little bit.
You seem upset about this.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about some things, and I was just telling them that I play tennis and I enjoy tennis, and I was just maybe went on a little bit about how I play tennis. And
Tell me about that.
well, it's a little embarrassing. I was exaggerating about how I play tennis, and they were telling me how they wanted to go to the U.S. Open, and they want to go every year because they love it. And I've never been really, but I wanted to be part of the conversation a little bit. So I told them that I had studied under a famous tennis player, and that they were really impressed with that. And so I just kept talking about that and all the stuff that I learned, and told them that I was really good at tennis. So.
And in reality,
I've maybe played a couple of times. So, and I've never met that person, let alone studied under them. And I really don't know how I got to the point where I was elaborating the story. And so they want to have some lessons. They want to learn what I learned under this person, and they started talking about getting together. And at that moment, I kind of got caught up, and I said sure, and we'll schedule it like Saturday mornings. We'll get together and we'll just kind of hit together and play some sets. And I don't know. I don't know what to do. It's just really embarrassing now because they're going to know that I really don't know how to play tennis. I could maybe have faked it a little bit, but now they think I've had professional training. So
it's going to be very obvious to them that you weren't being completely honest if you have to play tennis with them.
Right. And they're just going to know. And then they might question some other things I've said.
Things that are not tennis related?
Yeah. So.
Do you feel that in your relationship with these friends that you have not been honest frequently, a few times? Like, how would you categorize?
This is really hard to admit. No, it's just stupid. It's stupid. It's just something I do sometimes. I get kind of caught up, or I'm feeling left out of a situation, and they're all talking about a topic and I want to fit in. So I might say a couple of things that make it sound like I know what I'm talking about, or that I can relate to the topic when I can't.
All right, so in social situations when you're feeling isolated from the conversation, or maybe detached from the people, you create a story that helps reintegrate you back into that conversation.
Yeah. It's hard. I feel stupid just standing there, like having no idea. Like when they talk about traveling and seeing different cities and stuff, I haven't really been outside of my small town. You know, I've gone to Florida, went to Disney World, and went to Epcot. So, you know, when they're talking about going to Paris and, you know, seeing the Eiffel Tower and seeing Notre Dame, or they're talking about going to Rome, and you know, I can't really, I don't really have anything to say. I don't really have that kind of a life, and it's not very exciting. So sometimes I might say stuff about that, and it's a lot of little things, you know, that I find myself saying things that aren't true, and trying to just go along with what they're talking about, when I don't even know what they're saying, you know. When they talk about fashion, or they talk about just different things, and I don't know what to do in that situation, and I'm just finding myself just making things up and saying things that I think that they want to hear, and I don't even know if they believe it. You know, I kind of got the feeling this time that they were kind of calling me out because they were getting an idea of what I had been doing, and it was really embarrassing. And I feel like I just want to run away from the situation, and I don't want to talk to anybody, and I just want to break off friendships.
So a possible solution to what you consider the inevitable embarrassment if you have to play tennis with them is to just not see them, just not return their calls.
Right. I don't want them to know what, you know, that I have a really boring life, and that I'm not as smart as they are, and I'm not as successful, and I don't want them to know, and that I'm kind of like a loser compared to all of their exciting things that they do and say. And, you know, I just don't match up.
You feel you can't keep up with them on really so many levels. You talked about travel and fashion, and of course now with the athletics area with the tennis. So there's a sense of being inadequate when you're with them, or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So your options here are somewhat restricted, right? Just let them go as friends, or go and play tennis, and they'll figure out that you might have been making up that story. Or I suppose telling them the truth, right, would be an option as well. Have you thought about the different options available?
I mean, I have. I don't want to lose my friends, you know. I enjoy being with them, but it's like I'm going to be mortified if I go out there and try to teach them things I don't know. I mean, I guess like maybe I can watch some YouTube videos, but you know, they're going to realize that I've never played, and they're going to realize that they're better than I am. You know, and then, I don't know. I wonder if they'll still accept me if I tell them the truth.
So you fear you might have lost them either way at this point?
Yeah, but maybe there's a chance if I tell them the truth that they might have, you know, some understanding of what I've been doing, because I don't even understand it myself. But
how long has this been going on? Like the exaggeration or less than complete honesty in these social situations?
Well, it's really when I get really nervous about being around a group, or you know, get around people that I really admire, and I feel like I can't match up to them. So I don't know. It's probably, I probably did it here and there in high school when I was a kid, but it's just lately it's been more as I started. You know, I got a new job with this really big company, and I have more responsibility, and I got promoted, so I'm kind of in circles with people that really intelligent and successful, and you know, financially secure, and so it's probably when I get into situations socially with people that I really feel are above me, you know, whether it be socially or just intellectually.
So your circle of friends is one group that you've been less than honest with. Any other individuals or groups that you've been less than honest with?
No, not really. It's just really been in these friendship groups. Like, I think with my family, they know me and they know who I am, so I feel comfortable. I take a lot of pride in my job, so I don't do anything there. You know, I'm pretty honest with my with anyone who's under me and above me, obviously. So it's nothing like that. It's just this really strange, pressured social situation. I just I lose all confidence at that point when I'm hearing what other people are doing and how successful they are.
So I wonder, has there ever been a situation where you're with your friends and they're kind of doing what you described, where they're talking about their accomplishments, and you have chosen to not be less than honest? Like, either you made no contribution to the conversation, or you made the contribution that was within, that was truthful. Has that ever occurred?
Have I ever been truthful? Only if it's an area that I feel confident in.
Okay, but you have been a few times.
Yeah.
But only if you start out confident.
Yeah.
Right. How's that worked out?
Well, it's been great. I mean, it's fine. I guess it works like it's fine. Like we have good conversation and we get along. We laugh, and I feel comfortable. I get really anxious when I start telling lies. Like it doesn't feel comfortable, and I know I'm telling lies, and I'm getting caught up in it, and then it's just building and building and building, and then I don't even know what I've said anymore. People say things to me sometimes. I'm like, oh yeah, that's true.
You can't remember what you told them.
I don't remember.
So there really, I mean, from what you're describing, there's two outcomes to the social situations that occur. One is that you're less than honest, and you don't feel good about yourself when you do that. Or if it happens to be an area where you are confident, you can participate in that discussion. But it seems like what you haven't tried is when you're not confident, kind of still being honest.
Right.
Because that's when that sense of inadequacy is really strong for you.
Yeah.
What do you suppose would happen if you weren't as impressive as they were, and you relayed that, like in the particular area that they're discussing?
I don't know. I think they would think I didn't belong there. I didn't belong with them. That I wasn't really good enough to be their friend. Kind of, as I'm saying it out loud, it seems kind of weird to say it out loud, but I guess that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that if people see who I really am, they're not going to like it.
But you've not really tested that theory.
No.
And you know what the outcome is from being less than honest, because you're stuck in that situation now.
Yeah.
With some difficult choices, right?
Yeah.
And no one's good at everything, so you can't always count on having that feeling of confidence.
Right.
That would allow you to be honest with them and fully engage in the conversation.
Right.
So you'll have to decide what to do there, but it seems like it might be worth trying that, right? Trying the honesty route and seeing if that, seeing what feelings come out of that.
Well, I feel like even with just this situation, I just don't want to be here again. I know that I took this way too far. And at times when people are coming up to me and I don't even remember what I said, I was starting to get that sense. This is the first time that I'm really caught red-handed. Mm-hmm. And so I'm almost forced at this point to make a decision. And I don't want to hit the nuke button. I don't want to just decide to just disappear from my friendships. So And maybe it'll help if I just say this is what I do sometimes, and it's not okay, but I did it this time and I'm sorry. You know, I don't know if I'll end up with any friendships anyway, but
Well, there's no doubt you have hard choices, and I think you can see you've kind of constructed that the less than honesty policy has led to the situation,
right.
and you don't want it to repeat.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. But only you can really decide this, right? And we can continue to talk this through. When do you have the tennis thing scheduled then?
It's supposed to be Saturday, so
All right, so that's coming up quickly.
yes.
I want to touch on the automatic thoughts, right? We talked about this before. These are the thoughts that come up in the moment,
Yeah.
right? When a stressful situation is introduced. And it sounds like the stressful situation in this case is your friends talking about successes or interesting things.
Right.
What's the thought that pops into your mind in that moment? Like try to take yourself to that moment where your friends are talking and you talk about feeling isolated. But
Yeah.
what was the thought that you're thinking?
I'm just not that interesting. I'm not that smart. I'm not that successful. I mean, it's almost like a mantra.
I'm not that successful, I'm not that interesting, I'm not that smart. So really, all automatic thoughts that are putting you down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are those automatic thoughts defensible? I mean, is that realistic?
I guess it's a matter of perspective, you know. It's, you know, I just got a promotion, so, you know, in terms of success, like I have some, that was something that I just did. But I don't know, like interesting is kind of relative, you know. I don't know what makes somebody interesting over another person, you know.
But that automatic thought is telling you you're not interesting.
Yeah.
Right? When the reality might be that for every time they have something really exciting in their life, you may not have done that exact thing. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're automatically not interesting.
Right.
Or that your contribution would be definitively less than theirs.
Right.
See, there's kind of a those thoughts are really patently negative.
Yeah.
It kind of puts you all to one side of the scale, like you're just not interesting.
Right.
Not that you may not be as interesting on this particular topic,
Right.
but just you're not interesting. All the way
Right.
over to one side.
That, yeah. Because there might be other topics that I know a lot about.
Mm-hmm. And is it okay to be somewhat interesting? Right. So you know, if they've traveled to Paris, and you say the farthest you've traveled is Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, Florida's interesting. I guess I could see how some people wouldn't think it's always as interesting as certain things in Paris.
Right.
But it's not like you're completely isolated from travel.
Right.
And you've been to other places.
I mean, I've been to other places too. It's just, you know, Europe sounds so much more exotic and interesting than places
Florida.
I've been, you know. So.
Yes, you're not completely out of the discussion. It's just on that one topic of world travel.
Right.
And do you always have to have the most interesting stories about, or even equally interesting stories about what they're talking about?
Yeah. That's silly to feel like I have to be on top of everything all the time. So no, I don't have to dominate the conversation all the time. It doesn't always have to be about how interesting Maria is.
And if it's not true, then, I mean, this is something you're doing to fit in better with this group, but these statements aren't true.
Right.
Right? So hasn't really changed anything about you except that you were less than honest with them.
Right. Right.
And maybe that's for some of these feelings of now, like you seem like you're regretting these decisions and
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because I should be able to just be myself, especially in a friend group.
so
I definitely want
notwithstanding,
to stop doing this.
you want to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is causing you stress,
Yeah.
anxiety, right? Like,
Yeah.
so notwithstanding the hard choices you have to make with this particular situation, I'd like to put a plan together
Okay.
to help you with this in general. Right? I don't know what the best choice for you is in terms of your friends.
Yeah.
Right? It's difficult and really only you can make it. I'm certainly open to talking through the possible consequences and your feelings about it if you want to meet again before Saturday. But that kind of put aside for a second, you're aware of the automatic thoughts that are coming in.
Yeah.
Right? So in that moment, you can realize your cognition.
Yeah.
And I wonder if we could build, maybe this could be kind of like a homework assignment, if you could build what we call some adaptive responses. We talk about like the self-talk.
Mhm.
So these are the
Yeah.
thoughts we consciously think to really counter the automatic thoughts.
Right.
And I guess I touched on some of my thinking in terms of the adaptive responses, like, is it okay to be somewhat interesting? You know, do you have to be the most interesting in the conversation? Right. But more of interest to me than what I was thinking is, what are your ideas on some adaptive responses for these thoughts?
Well, I definitely don't need to be the center of attention all the time. You know, it's okay to be learning and getting something out of somebody else's adventures rather than always presenting myself forward. I mean, it's exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
Especially trying to come up with things and stuff starts coming out of my mouth. I don't even know what I'm saying. So it's exhausting. You know, once in a while it might be nice to just learn and hear and appreciate my friend, you know, and just kind of be there.
Let me stop you there. So one adaptive response could be, it's uncomfortable and anxiety provoking to feel isolated, but I don't always have to be at the top.
Yeah.
Right? I don't always have to impress.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
I want it to be in your own words.
Yeah, I think that's it. You know, I don't always have to be the center of attention. I don't always have to be the one with the most interesting story in the group.
And further, this may avoid an uncomfortable situation, like the being less than honest, but it's exhausting to you.
Yeah.
So there's consequences that
Yeah.
are unpleasant from it.
And I just want to be able to be me with my friend group and be accepted for the non-traveling me. You know?
Sure.
So.
It's okay not to travel. Any other ideas for adaptive responses?
Well, not feeling successful, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I sometimes just have to remind myself of what I've done so far. And, I mean, I'm always feeling like I have to move forward and do more. But, you know.
All right. So that would be like, they've just said something impressive. So the thought would be, that was pretty impressive, but I've had successes too.
Yeah. 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 Because at that moment, I think I forget. And then I just want to top their success. So, but, you know, I know I've done okay for myself. It's just at that moment, I gotta get really caught up in the feeling that I'm not good enough, because I immediately compare myself to that person and what they've done.
Yeah, and successes can be difficult to compare, right? I mean, are they really measured in the same units, so to speak, right? Like,
right.
How do you compare your promotion to somebody that traveled?
Right.
Two completely different things.
Right.
I'm not sure there's a calculation that makes those so you can
Right.
compare them, right? Like,
Right.
So some of this is about self-esteem.
Right. Yeah, I definitely struggle with that.
So do you want to try to meet before Saturday so we can discuss?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna think about it and think about what I want to say to them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be worse for me to try to play and just keep this farce going.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I can keep doing that. I think I'll have a panic attack right on the court. This won't work. And it's a little immature to think I'm just gonna shut them off completely as friends at this point, so.
All right. Well, why don't you think about that, and if you want, we can schedule another appointment before Saturday so we can process that.
Okay.
So in the meantime, and kind of working on the larger problem, right, that you brought up today, how about identifying, to the best of your ability, identifying those automatic thoughts we talked about,
Okay.
as they happen, if they happen during this week, but also maybe identifying some of the ones in the past, like you've talked about,
Yeah.
and working with the thought record to build those adaptive responses.
Okay.
So it's something that with the adaptive responses, it's something you want to become a habit. You want to have those responses ready to go. So when that thought comes in, before you act on that thought,
Yeah.
you can inject that automatic or that adaptive response, that self-talk.
Yeah.
Right? You can talk to
Yeah.
yourself and avoid the behavior that you're trying to avoid, which in
Okay.
this case would be the less than honest.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Definitely need to stop doing that.
all right. So does that homework sound manageable?
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
So if you get a few of those kind of written up, the automatic thoughts and the adaptive responses, and then we can try to get you scheduled in before Saturday.
That would be great. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Maria.
Thank you.